Hello, and good day, everyone. I'm having a Gong-fu session this morning, and I wanted to bring you all along with me, explain a little bit about the tea, and just have a quick chat. Specifically about the tea, because tea is awesome, and I love Gong-fu tea. I want to talk about it. So, and drums. Drums are cool. Today we're drinking Qimen red tea. To give you a little bit of story here. If you are familiar, you probably are, with English breakfast or Earl Grey tea, this is the base tea for that. I apologize for the audio quality as well. This is just phone audio. Didn't feel like getting out a real audio setup for this. Definitely could, but Quick video, filling up the kettle. You can hear the running water. We're gonna call it that. Sound of running water. But yeah, back to the tea for a sec here. And I apologize. The kettle is quite loud, so you will hear that in the background of me talking. Once again, camera audio. But yeah, so we're drinking Qimen red tea, like I said, is the base for Earl Grey. And you're noticing, you may have noticed, I'm calling it red tea instead of black tea. And that is for being a traditionalist, I guess. In China, they call it red tea because of the color of the liquid, which you'll see in a sec. And then when it came to the West, they called it black tea, again because of the color of the leaves. Take a good look at them. But I'm going to be brewing this tea. I'll take you through the process of brewing it, the equipment, what it's called, and I guess we'll start with the gaiwan. So this is the gaiwan, which means, let me add the lid here, means lidded bowl in Chinese. And man, I'm pronouncing that super wrong. At me in the comments if you speak Mandarin. Which is this. It's essentially a brewing vessel. The nature of Gong-fu tea is to brew the tea and continually brew the tea over and over and over again. Where essentially you will, fully expand the leaves and then experience the progression of the tea throughout different steeps. If I wasn't making a video, this is an excellent opportunity to practice mindfulness and being in the present moment, because you have so many sensations that you can focus on to take you out of your own head. It's great. Super, super good for that. But here's what I'm doing. I am pouring the first steep, which is called the wash steep. So essentially, with this particular tea, it's a pretty quick wash, about 5 seconds, so about as fast as you can go, where you pour the tea, get your little strainer here, put it on top of what is called the pitcher, or gong dao bei. I believe I'm probably butchering the tones of that. But it's basically used for if you're serving other people, it evens out the tea. Because if you ever make tea this style and you pour it directly into the cups, each cup ends up with a different concentration of tea because of, how steeped it is at the top versus the bottom of the brewing vessel. You'll notice I'm pouring this wash steep out over my tea pets here. It's called raising them. And essentially they get patina over time. And they like the tea, man. It brings luck and auspiciousness to have tea pets and to feed them the tea. This is my favorite one. This is Shishi. I got her a long, long time ago as a gift from my guitar player. And it's a chonky cat to inspire chonky riffs. But yeah, that was even before I got into tea. She just lived on my desk and, chonky cat, chonky riffs, hand in hand. But yeah, back to the tea for a sec. So after the wash steep, I'm now pouring what I would consider the first real steep. This is the one we're going to drink. To explain the wash steep a little more, the reason you do that is because the leaves need time to open up. And so when they are kind of first inundated with water, they open up a little bit, but it makes a very weak cup of tea and is not so good for drinking. Some people love to drink it. Some people, they spend all this money on tea and they go, well, I'm going to drink all of it, which is to each their own. I personally don't like it that much. It also contains the most caffeine. Most of the caffeine comes out in the first wash, which is kind of nice for me because I'm very caffeine sensitive. But tea as a whole is good for caffeine sensitive people like myself. But yeah, so here's the first steep that I'm going to drink. With Gong-fu tea, you do a lot of short steeps. And so here I'll show you. Getting back to the red tea thing. This tea is called red tea. Bam! Because of the color of the liquid. It's a nice red amber color. And yeah, I would say You should smell that, but obviously we don't have smell-o-vision. If you were here with me, you'd be smelling it. I'd make you smell it. Probably should have given it to you first, but it's weird because you're a camera. But yeah, so Gong-fu tea is something very special and near and dear to me, so I wanted to share it off with you guys, or share it with you guys, show it off. And yeah, as it sits, let's talk about life for a sec. Life is cool. I'm having a good time. I am very, very stoked to be a part of Jay's masterclass. I feel like I've already seen a pretty good amount of improvement in my drumming. So to give you guys a little bit of background, I have been a drummer for a long, long time. I got my first drum set when I was 5 years old, and before that, I had buckets and drumsticks. And my dad's a musician. He was a touring musician that he gave up touring when I was, pretty much born or just before I was born, to be a dad and raise a family, which I'm very grateful for. But sometimes I'm like, damn, I wonder what it would have been like if he was touring the whole time. That's besides the point. I digress. Oh, it's good tea. It's very nutty. It's very sweet naturally. And yeah, okay, hang on. Before we get back to drumming, I want to take a sec, now that I tasted the tea, to talk about that a little more. Sorry, I'm all over the place. Oh, that is good. Okay, so teabag tea versus loose leaf tea is a totally different thing. If you guys like tea, I will implore you all day to get not even this much of a setup, just 2 mugs even, and some good loose leaf tea. It will change your life. Because, so with teabag tea, the material that goes in there is tiny. It's, little like 1 millimeter by 1 millimeter specks that have, I know it's maybe a little counterintuitive, a ton of surface area. So what happens with the tea bag is you pour the water in on top of the tea bag, it lets go of all of the energy, of all of the tea, as soon as the water hits it, basically. So it ends up very bitter. And so if you've had English breakfast, or you've had Earl Grey, or what have you, it's very commonplace to add milk and sugar, right? To cut that bitterness and make it a little bit more drinkable. We're not talking about herbal tea right now. Herbal tea is a totally different thing. It's actually, in traditional tea culture, not referred to as tea. It's a tisane, I think is the word for that. But, yeah, I digress. Tea is great. We can get back to drumming for a sec. I don't know if I didn't finish a point. I have a hard time keeping track of where I'm at in my brain. ADHD things. But yeah, okay, back to drumming for a sec. Jay's masterclass rules, you guys. This is like the most progress I've made in the shortest amount of time with exercises that are catered specifically to the kind of drumming that I do. The kind of drumming that I love to do and have done for many, many years, or tried to do for many, many years. I just have been having a really good time. These exercises are pushing me forward on the drums in a way that really I haven't experienced before. It's my first time really taking lessons, right? I've given lessons to plenty of beginner drummers, kind of just teaching them how to play a basic rock beat and some very, very basic independent stuff. But when it comes to, more in-depth concepts like quintuplets, for example, that's stuff I haven't really touched. I've had a skill set that I've really relied on after all of my years of drumming. And I've just applied that to all the different music that I've made. Be that, my project with my brother that I'm doing right now, which is like kind of a royal blood sounding, like 2-3 members, just really like heavy rock, if that makes sense, which has been really fun. I've been having a great time with that. All the way to like Polyphemus, which was my previous band, where we play in 13/16 and just do ridiculous proggy symphonic death metal jazz. I don't know. But yeah, I've had the same skill set for a really long time that honestly comes in part from learning Tesseract songs and Periphery songs, but also from, trying to learn Dream Theater and Between the Buried and Me songs, where it's like kind of two halves of the same prog coin, if you will. One more focused, like Meshuggah, on the rhythmic intricacy, polyrhythms, odd phrasing, stuff like that. versus I think the bulk of my like adulthood, I really focused on more kind of like traditional prog drumming, where when I was about 19, I went on a war path to learn like the Dance of Eternity. And then I learned it and it was really hard for about a year. And then it clicked and I was like, okay, this really isn't that bad. And then I went back and tried to learn some Tesseract and Monuments and Ollie Steel songs, and I'm like, this is way harder than that. So it's been a really good experience being in the masterclass to develop all of those kind of polyrhythmic skills in a structured way. It's been really nice. But yeah, drums are cool, man. Play drums. Drums are awesome. Drink tea, play drums, love life. That's like as simple as it gets. I had a conversation over email with Jay today. I'm working on the integrations, kind of backing songs, I guess loops if you want to call them that. And I've been busting them out, man. I think I've put out one a day for the last 3 days or so. And it's been a great time. I've been having an absolute blast writing those. And he mentioned like to be careful about avoiding burnout and not to just rehash his tea time, but dude, burnout is super real. It's very important to separate yourself from activities, especially when you're working on something. Be that a day of work, you know, you get half an hour for your lunch break. You think about work while you're on your lunch break and then you go back to work. You're not fresh. It sucks. Versus if you take that half hour and practice mindfulness, have some tea. That's a little bit of a stretch for a lot of people in the working kind of fields. If you have a desk job, you could totally do this. But practice mindfulness. Give yourself 10 minutes of that 30-minute lunch break to really focus on being in the present moment. And you will notice that when you get back to work, you're more fresh. That burnout is, you know, pushed to the side a little bit compared to if you just went through the motions, you know? So I've been doing a lot of that. I already told Jay this, but at least as far as for the integrations exercises, I'm having a really easy time staving off burnout, at least this early on, because yes, I have a lot of things to do, but because it's a creative thing, it's not monotonous, you know? It's, each one is unique and each one is not perfect. That's a big thing that's helping me kind of prevent burnout with those is focusing on completion instead of perfection is just getting the things done on time, getting them to Jay so that he can put them on the website when the stuff launches, you know? So I would say it's pretty tough for me to burn out on this. I might, you know, eat my words later on with that, but man, I write songs a lot, you know? I'd say 1 to 3 hours a day, every day, sans, you know, a few days off here and there. I've been writing songs for the last 7, 8 years, like maybe more, really since I was about 16 years old, which that's 10 years now. So it's been really nice to have a purpose with all this songwriting, like being able to write little demos that, you know, my fellow peers and drummers are going to be playing over and just like putting their own spin on is such a joy. You guys have no idea how awesome it is. Like, I'm really thankful Dan in the Discord server and another masterclass student has already drummed over the 3/4 polyrhythm thing that I did. It was so awesome hearing that. You guys have no idea. Because, like, at the end of the day, I have written the drum parts for all of my bands. I have either been the writer or the drummer for everything. So hearing other drummers have spins on little guitar things or riffs that I have is awesome. I maybe should keep this under wraps, but I'll spill the beans for you guys. Jay Postones, the man, the myth, the legend, heard the exercise. I think he just dropped it today for Syncopation Made Simple. Oh man, 4.2? I can't remember. The one that just came out. And he heard the riff that I did and like immediately was like, dude, I hear a metric modulation over this. And so he sent me a little clip of him doing a metric modulation on it. And that is like a dream come true, by the way. When your favorite drummer is playing on your riffs, you have no idea what that does to freaking push aside the imposter syndrome, that's for sure. But it was just really cool. I mean, it gets back to what I was saying. Like, I really, really want to hear people play drums on this stuff and have different takes. use their own style, inject their own fills. Like, it's gonna be so rad to hear and see these videos. So it already is. Thank you, Dan. But yeah, I don't know. I'm having a blast. I'm drinking tea. I'm about to go start my drum practice, get an hour in on that, take a quick little break, maybe eat a sandwich, and then work on the next thing. And then I've got my little brother coming over again to write some Royal Blood-esque music, and I got to spread mulch around my yard. I've got a pretty busy day today, but like I said, getting back to the burnout stuff, practicing active rest and true rest really helps. Being mindful, being in the moment, and just living life, man, having a good time. Yeah. Much love. Let me know if you like me rambling like this. It's just a story time. I don't know. Drinking some tea, talking about the tea. If you liked it, give me a thumbs up on this video. If you really liked it, hit subscribe. I'm really trying to hit 1,000 subscribers by the end of 2026. It's a great goal. A great goal for me to have. Yeah. Much love.